Welcome to the deep dive. We look through some incredible sources here to find wisdom that really resonates.
Hmm.
And today, we're diving into a book that, well, frankly, it changed my perspective quite a bit. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
A truly profound work, an absolute classic.
It is. It's this chilling but also deeply inspirational account, right, of his 3 years as a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps.
Chilling, yes, but the inspiration, Carl Rogers called it one of the outstanding contributions to psychological thought in the last 50 years. That says a lot.
It really does. And it sold, what, over 4 million copies just in English? So clearly it struck a chord.
Definitely.
Now, we should say this is a tough topic. It's heartbreaking, really, but our aim here is to maybe offer a bit of a warm light, you know?
Yes, because it touches on things we all face.
Exactly. Let's face it, things like pain, suffering, even death.
Mm.
They're just, well, unavoidable parts of being human.
They are part of the human condition.
So it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What about those times you feel completely hopeless? Like situations are just totally beyond your control. What do you do then? How do we respond?
And that is precisely where Frankl's core idea comes in. He argued quite powerfully that the will to meaning, this basic human need to find purpose, is the fundamental motivation in life.
Okay, the will to meaning, not pleasure, like Freud might say, or power, like Adler.
Exactly. Frankl saw those as secondary, especially when everything external is stripped away. What remains is that search for meaning. He often quoted Nietzsche.
Oh, the famous one.
Yes. He who has a why to live for can bear with almost anyhow. That really captures it, especially in extreme suffering.
Wow. Okay, so if meaning is the key drive, how do we actually find it or tap into it when things are, well, awful? This brings us to, I think, one of his most interesting ideas, tragic optimism. Is that right?
That's right. Tragic optimism. It sounds like a contradiction, maybe.
A little, yeah.
But Frankl defined it as being optimistic in spite of what he called the tragic triad.
The tragic triad. That's pain, guilt, and death.
Pain, guilt, and death, those unavoidable shadows. Tragic optimism is about our human capacity to creatively turn life's negative aspects into something positive or constructive.
Creatively turn negatives into positives. How does that work?
It means finding meaning within the suffering, turning suffering into a kind of human achievement, deriving positive change from guilt, seeing life's temporary nature, death, as an incentive to act responsibly.
Okay, but crucial point here, right? This isn't about wanting to suffer.
Absolutely not. Frankl was very clear. If suffering can be avoided, the meaningful thing to do is remove the cause. He said, to suffer unnecessarily is masochistic rather than heroic.
That distinction feels really important. Unnecessary suffering versus unavoidable suffering.
Yes, it's about facing what is unavoidable with a specific kind of inner strength.
So how does this look in real life? I mean, it sounds powerful, but maybe hard to grasp when you're actually going through something terrible. Can you give us some examples Frankl's used?
Sure. He shared some really moving stories from his clinical practice. One was an elderly doctor deeply depressed after his wife died. He couldn't see any meaning left.
That's understandable. Devastating.
Utterly. But Frankl helped him reframe it. He asked, what would have happened if you had died first? And the doctor realized his wife would have suffered the same grief. So his own suffering, his survival, actually spared her that pain. His continued life, bearing the grief, became a final act of love. The suffering gained meaning.
Wow, okay. That's profound.
Isn't it? Another example. A mother whose son was severely disabled. She felt her life might be seen as a failure, full of burden.
Society can be cruel that way.
It can. But she came to see that dedicating herself to her son's care gave her life immense meaning and fulfillment. It wasn't a failure. It was her unique, vital purpose.
She found her why.
She found her why. And then there's Jerry Long, a young man who became quadriplegic after an accident. He said something incredible.
What was that?
He said, I broke my neck, it didn't break me. Frankl saw this as the perfect example of the defiant power of the human spirit.
I broke my neck, it didn't break me.
No.
That just stops you in your tracks.
It really does. It shows that attitude, the inner choice.
So what does this all mean then? Bringing it all together feels like Frankl's big message, born from the worst possible circumstances, is, well, it's quite revolutionary.
It absolutely is. I think it boils down to his most famous insight, perhaps. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. the last of the human freedoms.
To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
Precisely. Even when you control nothing outside, that inner space, your response, your search for meaning, that remains yours. It's the ultimate freedom.
It's not just about getting through trauma, is it? It's about actively finding purpose, even in the hardship itself. Finding strength, maybe because of the hardship, not just despite it.
Well put, yes.
So, for everyone listening, maybe take a moment to think about that. Considering the hardships life inevitably throws our way, how might embracing this idea of tragic optimism, this defiant power of the human spirit, how might that help you, or maybe someone you care about, find a deeper, unshakable meaning, even when things seem incredibly difficult? Something to ponder.